It's day 2 of the Love FM Republic Bank Habitat Fair happening at the Kumasi City Mall. And well, I have spent quite a great deal of time here, and it's amazing to see patrons visiting stands, negotiating great deals and discounts with exhibitors. Well, let me walk over to a few stands and let me interact with them on how patronage has been today, and then they'll also take me through the products and services they offer. So I am visiting the stand of Yoben Security doors, and I can spot some wooden doors as well as metallic doors. Let me speak to my fine gentleman here. Hello, sir. What's your name? And I know you are with Yoben Security doors. Take us through what you have to offer us.
All right. My name is Ebenezer. Yeah, I'm in charge of sales and marketing. Actually, we deal in Turkish premium security doors. We have Italian security doors as well. We also have internal doors, very solid and heavy internal doors. That comes with the frames, the locks, architraves. It's a complete on its own. Yeah. So as you can see this one, these are some of the Turkish doors, Turkish security doors. Yeah, with a monolock. And then it has a central lock as well. Actually, because of the weather climate, we have it in different finishing. Because when we look at, when we get to your site and then we assess the place, then we recommend a door that will fit the place. You get it? So we have it in different finishing, 4 different finishing. We have the wooden finishing. We have a complete metallic. We also have a fiberglass finishing as well. So depending on the place, then we give it to you.
Thank you very much, sir. So you had a representative of Yoben Security Doors, and they have the best doors with 10-year warranty. Oh, that's very amazing. Let me move on to another stand, Asatec Roofing. Asatec Roofing. I can spot some roofing sheets, aluminium self-lock, zinc self-lock, aluminium IDT. Tell us about it.
Okay, you talk to him before.
Please, I'm Eric. I'm Eric from Asatec Roofing. I'm a sales executive at Asatec, and then my colleague here is Gilbert, an estimator. Okay. Our company specializes in providing total roofing solutions to our customers. We do that through our technically trained estimators. They go to the site, the customer site, to take accurate measurements and provide roofing quotations to the customers. We have our samples here on the profiles here. We have self-lock, standing seam, IBR, IDT. So my colleague will take you through the samples and the quality.
Okay.
Take me through the...
I was saying this type is standing seam. So the standing seam, like they will interlock it when they are installing it. They will interlock. You will not see nails on top of the roof. The nails will be under. But this one, IBR, you will use screws on top of the roofing. So you will see the nails or the screws on top of the roofing. And this one too, IDT. I've seen the design, different designs. I've seen this one is self-lock, IBR, IDT.
Okay, sure. Thank you very much, sir. So you had Asatec Roofing, and they are a subsidiary of Asatec Group, providing you quality roofing sheets. I moved to another stand, Custodia Glass. Wow, nice. Nice works I can see here. Okay, let me speak to my gentleman. Hello, sir. I can only see glasses. What are they? Show me. I see staircase, I think windows.
Yeah, this is Prestudia Ghana Limited, which is now Prestudia Glass. We are into all kind of glass works, like frameless doors, shower cubicles, glass balustrades. So this that you see here is a window. And windows, it comes with different profiles. This is Italian profile. And the one there is the gray color UPVC.
Okay, so I know that for most patrons, they may not have the money up front to pay for all this. Any payment plans for them?
If you're able to come attend this Habitat Fair, we have a whopping 10% discount that we provide. And we also have a payment terms. We will come to your site, take the estimate,
and provide the proof of my invoice for you. You only have to just follow up, come to our office, and we will negotiate with you the payment terms and everything.
Sure, thank you very much. So that was Pristodial Glass with flexible payment terms. There's also specialists in UPVC, black, white, grey, windows and doors. I moved to the stand of City Park, and I have this fine gentleman here who's ready to speak with me. And I can already see some images here depicting the kind of structures we live in. City Park, tell me about City Park.
Well, City Park is a gated community that's coming up here in Kumasi. We're already building our model homes. I think about a year ago, we talked about coming to show you guys what City Park is all about. We are launching 2, 3, and 4 bedroom townhomes. First in Kumasi, we've done similar things in Accra. We're bringing the same concept to Kumasi. It's a gated community, 24/7 security. We are starting with 2 bedrooms that start at only $137,000. So it's pretty good price when it comes to the size. You're getting 2 rooms upstairs, living dining area. We have options of an open plan kitchen concept, which is also new but pretty decent. And then we have 3 bedrooms. That has 3 rooms upstairs, also living dining area and kitchen, everything downstairs. Yeah.
That's very good. But where is City Park located?
So we're right off Kokode on Agric Kokode. We're just basically sharing border walls with Agric College off the main road. Market we are right on the main road. New Mission Academy School. So area so we're close to town.
So any payment plans for me? Let's talk about discounts for those who will come to this Habitat Fair. Yeah.
Well, if you're coming to Habitat Fair, the big deal we have for you guys is this. Number one, we are doing $5,000 off if you are buying and you mention Joy Habitat Fair or Love Habitat Fair or Habitat Fair in general. And number two, what we're also allowing for you guys to get is we're going to do a 30-month payment plan. 10% every 3 months for 30 months to help buy any unit you want. For our 2-bedroom, which is called our Akoma units, our 3-bedroom units, the Kente units, anything that you're looking for, we'll give you 30 months to pay. 10% every 3 months. You start with a simple reservation of 100,000 cedis or $10,000. That's all. That reserves your unit, and then you have 30 months to pay with 10% every 3 months only. And that's a special promotion we're having for you guys only.
Okay, sure. Thank you very much. City Park with your special promotion, 30 months payment plan. Hey, City Park, they say if you Let me move on to another stand, Alaska Star Enterprise. I can spot some butterflies here. For Alaska Star, I know they are really into interior decor items. Let me speak to a representative here. Hello, sir. I know you're representing Alaska Star. Tell us all.
Well, a very good morning to you. What a morning it has been today. But we're here, we're large and in charge, just giving you a bit of a reflection of what happened yesterday at the Love FM Republic Bank Habitat Fair. Of course, that's the Kumasi installment of the show. But here we are on the AM show, continuing from here with what you can expect in the course of today. So guess what? The news will come your way shortly, followed by the news review with Elton Brobe, a JoyNews editor. He's been here. He'll be back today to aid us with that. And then for sports, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi will present that segment. And then quickly we get into the big stories for today. So one of those matters we're going to be contemplating. JoyNews investigations have uncovered a cartel, including staff of the ECG and security guards who forged documents to sell off unapproved meters to prospective consumers at exorbitant prices. We'll be telling you a lot more about that as we give you snippets of that piece and what exactly is happening there. Then we get into our second big story, and we're going to be contemplating the Ghana AIDS conversation. It's a conversation with them. Now, close to 17,000 people are newly infected with HIV every year, and close to 57% of children under 14 years living with HIV do not receive antiretroviral drugs. We'll be telling you a lot more about that as we engage the Ghana AIDS Commission. But also stay with us, because we'll be heading to Liberia this morning on Citizen's Microphone. We'll be in Liberia as it prepares for another election. Naya Jima will join us with the updates. And guess what? It's an SMQ season, but we'll also, before that, be hosting the Mfantsipim Old Boys Association on its annual engagement series. We'll be interacting with them. And right after that, the big one, the National Science and Math Quiz, Wesley Gall's SHS versus St. Peter's SHS versus Lewis Ratton SHS. This contest will be live on this channel from about 9:30 a.m. So stick and stay with us. That's what we have lined up for you today. A bit of everything in there. So we'll be right back with the news up next. Welcome back on the AM show. Our apologies for the late start to the show. We faced some technical challenges. But in our first story, over 120 observers have been dispatched by the Economic Community of West African States for Tuesday's election in Liberia. Now, all counties in the country will have ECOWAS present. So far, the long-term observation team has been working with the National Electoral Commission in Liberia to resolve concerns raised by some stakeholders. Nanaya Ojima, who is in Monrovia for the election, caught up with Samuel Koku-Anyidoho of the Atta Mills Institute.
We are 2 days away from the big election in Liberia. It's the fourth consecutive election since Liberia adopted democratic rule. Today, ECOWAS is dispatching its observers to the various counties here in Liberia. And Mr. Samuel Koku-Anyidoho, a Ghanaian and a politician for that matter, is one of the observers on this mission. I'll be having a brief interaction with him about what he has picked up so far. He's been through town, he's been observing things within Liberia, Monrovia to be precise, and he's picked a few things. Let's go straight to him and have a conversation with him. Mr. Anyidoho, welcome.
Well, thank you, my brother.
How has your stay been?
Well, excellent so far.
So we are a few days away from the big election. Now, we know that the UP, the Unity Party, is trying to stage a comeback in Liberia. CDC now is in power, is in control, but it looks like the UP is doing everything possible to snatch power from them. What has been your observation so far?
Well, as you are aware, I'm an ECOWAS observer from Ghana, of course under the auspices of the Atta Mills Institute, and so we are just here to observe. So like you said, today is the main deployment day. I am going with my team to Nimba County, which is about 6 hours from Monrovia. But what we've observed so far is that the security situation seems very much under control. There's no heightened security tension. Yesterday, for example, was the main campaign day, last one for the Unity Party, and throughout town they flowed freely. You hardly saw heavy military police presence. And then interestingly, I happened to be around the headquarters of the CDC, which is a ruling party, and there was not a single human being in CDC colors intending to stop the UP Unity Party from proceeding. And for me, I think that the general feeling is that in the build-up to the elections on Tuesday, the political parties are campaigning freely. Of course, today is also the last day for the ruling government, so the city is going to be awash with their. Yesterday it was green and white, so we observe.
Those were Nanaya Ojima's interactions with Koku-Anyidoho in Monrovia. But in our next story, the governing New Patriotic Party has disowned some 16 men who stormed and disrupted a live entertainment program on United Television Saturday night. The angry men said they were there to demand fair representation for the MPP on the show. The leader of the group said the entertainment show had turned into a political one, with the MPP and the president unfairly criticizing every Saturday evening. Well, here is a leader of the group.
I listened to the NDC.
Was able to sit here and share our document. That is our property. We need him to render an unqualified apology. Again, the same person has insulted our General Secretary, he has insulted our Vice President, he has insulted our President. And there's nobody here to defend them. We are the youth of this country, not only the political party that we belong to, but we are the youth of this country. And we feel that it is unfair on our part. That is why we have come here and want to be part of the program. With all due respect, we respect you so much. Well, the program has turned into a political show. So if you want us to move outside before they start the program and you can assure us that we will come inside, fine. However, that notwithstanding, we expect that at least, even if you allow maybe about 3 or 4 of us to be here, and then the rest of the team or the invited guests can also join, we'll be glad to do so.
Well, the Ghana Police Service arrested some 16 of them, and these individuals will be put before court. Director of Communications with the MPP, Richard Ahiagba, says the party did not sanction the act.
I listened to the NDC statement and I read it, but I think that the NDC should not get ahead of itself in commenting on this matter. As a party, we condemn it unreservedly, and we apologize to UTV and the individuals involved in the management of the program, the panelists. We have extended that apology to them. I was there in the night, spoke to them off camera and on camera to offer our apology and to make clear that the new Patriotic Party did not sanction that activity and will not sanction that. And so therefore, our position is to say there are other ways of dealing with issues, and certainly what happened yesterday is not one of them. And we condemn it. But the point I wanted to make is relative to the NDC's assumptions that they are making. As you indicated, police are in the process of investigating this matter. There hasn't been any conclusion. There has been come out with who was directing these affairs. And therefore, to begin to mention people's names and cast these aspersions as though that they know for a fact who is leading this, I think is most regrettable.
Well, on that self-same matter, the opposition National Democratic Congress has also condemned the act and is calling on the Ghana Journalists Association and civil society organizations to do same. In fact, the GJA has also condemned the act. But let's start with the National Democratic Congress. They have put a statement out there, and this is what they had to say. As you see in your shot, NDC condemns MPP's violent attack on the studios of UTV. And the National Democratic Congress has learned with utter disgust a dastardly attack that was visited on the studios of United Television last night. While the station's primetime entertainment show, United Showbiz, was ongoing, a group of uncivilized hooligans belonging to the ruling New Patriotic Party stormed the studios of UTV, disrupted the live program, and proceeded to threaten to assault the host and her guests. It later emerged that these thugs were led by the Klotikole youth organizer of the New Patriotic Party under the orders of Ernest Owusu-Bempah, a deputy director of communications, and other leading figures of the ruling party. But just to skip a bit further, it says the senseless attack we witnessed yesterday was clearly goaded by recent antagonistic posturing of high-ups in government and the MPP towards UTV and its flagship United Showbiz program. Just to end, indeed, we go down to the latter part of this statement. Okay, so it says the NDC shall be monitoring every development on this important matter and will not accept anything short of justice. It's signed by the National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sami Jimfi. Let's now get to the next statement by the Ghana Journalists Association, which also had a lot to say about the incident, pivotally when the Information Ministry responded to the incident, especially the last paragraph of that statement. We'll be bringing you the details of that statement shortly. So, per the GJA, It also reflects on the happenings of the day, but it also condemns the reaction of the Information Ministry. If you read from the ministry's May 2023 press statement, was very direct, and it refers to the earlier incident of the Dagbang FM issue. That is what it cites here. It says, the ministry described the attack as assault without any, quote, allegedly clothing. The ministry condemned the act specifically without giving it general discretion. The ministry called for severe and speedy response from law enforcement agencies to avoid future recurrence. And then it said that this incident on UTV ought to be treated the same way as the Dagbang FM incident, which involved an NDC member. It ends with, we also wish to urge media practitioners and institutions to act professionally at all times in the discharge of their duties. And that is how that statement is signed by the General Secretary of the GJA, Kofi Yeboah. And that's how we end the discussion on that front. But let's talk NSMQ now. And after an intense battle for academic supremacy, TIMAS established themselves as a formidable opponent over KNUST SHS to secure a spot in the 1/8 stage of the NSMQ. Now, the contest initially favored TIMAS, but they were faced with a setback in the second round against their city rivals, KNUST SHS. Despite the hitch, however, the real Amasphobians persevered, striving for a high score in subsequent rounds. While KNUST SHS fought bravely, they ultimately fell short in their pursuit of victory. My colleague Jacqueline Ansumaya has been interacting with the students after the heated contest.
Today's contest started with a lot of twists and turns, with KNUST leading. But moving on to the other rounds, we had TIMAS taking the lead into the third, to the fourth, through to the fifth round, and they crowned the day with some 45 points as against their nemesis, KNUST Senior High School. I have some of the old students here. He is an old student. He came to support his school. How do you feel right now?
I feel so excited. The contest was very tough. By the end, our boys made it through.
The boys made it through. Indeed, they made it through. Now, moving forward, we are going to the 1A stage. What should we expect from TIMAS?
You should expect nothing but the best, because we are very... we have courage in our boys, and I hope they are going to deliver it.
How do you feel about this?
I can't express how I feel right now, because I am really amazed, and I go with the saying, don't look down upon anyone. Don't judge a book by its cover. If we were not able to qualify last year, it didn't mean that we are not coming. This time around, we came all prepared. I told you earlier on that the momentum in us is stronger. The forces in our competitors are balanced, and they are ready to strike. And by His grace, we are on top of our feet. And it is a clear warning to them that they shouldn't undermine the power of Real Amas, because we are strong. We want to show the world that failure is just as important as success. You cannot appreciate success if you do not know failure. That is what I want to send to my guy from KNUST, because he said that looking at us, we are not capable enough going home with the ultimate. And here we are, by His grace. I said this earlier on, that by the grace of the Almighty, we will go home and we will make our school proud, and we will make the region proud as well. Thank you.
Right, that is from Real Amas. They are still jubilating right here. Well, as you can see, I'm still in the midst of the students of Real Amas, and they're expressing their excitement about their win today. And as I said earlier, they won with some 45 points as against their nemesis, KNUST Senior High School. And they are saying and promising us all that we should expect spectacular performance from them in the contest. Reporting live from Sarah Mensa Hall, I am Jacqueline Ansumaya.
Well, to cap off the news, the 2023 National Science and Math Quiz is produced by Primetime Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with Goyle PLC. The broadcast of the National Science and Math Quiz on JoyNews and Joy Prime is supported by Vitamilk, NASCO, German Ozone Medical Center, Royal Foam, Jamas Soap, Heritage Christian College, Virtual Security Africa, Ace Medical Insurance, Chopbox Technologies, Syntex Tank, DBS Investment Corp, Build Financial Technologies, Beta Malt, Bright SHS Kukrentumi, and Family Health University College. Well, that's how we cap off the news for this morning. Stay with us. Up next, the news review. Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for the news review, and the segment always brought to us by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering you out there, if you're a man, and just over the weekend, I was having a conversation about someone who had, developed prostate issues. Don't take them for granted, no matter your age. Once you're after 30, not after 50 anymore, after 30, start getting yourself checked. Now, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic is offering you free screening for your prostate if you're a man, free fertility screening if you're a woman. Now, all you have to do is look for them here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. There's also Kumasi, Kronoma here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji State, Tama Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Siaman Zama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But just the start of the news review, and I'm joined here by my partner in everything good, though sometimes he's up to some mischief. I'm talking about our very own Samuel Umbura. He's on our political desk. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. It has been a while.
Yeah, I traveled over the weekend, got back into town late yesterday, and guess what? Yeah. ECG decided to show me some small, the word that is coming, I can't use it. But up north, you would usually hear that wording. Some showdown. ECG gave me a showdown.
I see.
So guess what? Before I traveled, this was on Thursday morning, I tried getting ECG credits because I realized that I was running a bit low. It was a pretty tricky situation, so I couldn't. Then I return and I make a purchase. Okay. On the app. There's the ECG app, so that should make things easier. Unfortunately, a lot of the time it makes things even more difficult. So I make the purchase, and then I can even show you on my other phone. It is pending. Okay, which means that the payment has been made, it's gone through. There are times when the payment will be registered, but it's not. But they have to give you a token so that you can then key it in. You see, there's this for prepaid meters. There's this little gadget. They don't send it. They tell me I have to wait for about 5 hours.
Wow.
And my power is running out. Wow. Even then, I try again. There are vending points where you can. Yeah. So it's pretty late in the day, but I reach out to a friend, and thankfully the person is still working. Then they also tell me the ECG network is down.
Wow.
So guess what? At a point late yesterday, my light went off. While I had paid for electricity, while I had tried again, even from a vendor, to pay so that in case that one works, maybe the refund can be made to me at some point, or it can be credited to my account. So guess what? That's what happened to me. I had a rough night.
Oh, I understand your predicament.
Didn't sleep well.
Yeah.
Came to town tired. And I've asked myself, and this is not the first time. It's happened to me about 2 or 3 times. Because sometimes you will not always keep your eye on the meter. And so many people.
Yeah.
The last time this happened to me, there were people, I went to a vending point and there were people queued there. And guess what? None of them could get electricity. The network was down. And you have someone maybe operating the cold store or something, and this happened.
That's the unfortunate thing. I think Engineer Dubik Mahama and his team, they are doing a fantastic job. However, some of these isolated cases are pushing people to go into illegal connection. And that is one thing that we need to fight. If I have the money to purchase the power, you are not ready to serve, or have passed through all the processes.
Or I have paid for the power and still I can't access
power. Like
you're
talking about someone who's operating a cold store. The goods are getting rotten. You also need light at home. Maybe if it's an essential facility that needs power urgently, what happens? We only hope that Engineer Dubik Mahama and his team will continue upgrading the system to make it more easy. Because I understand that is peculiar to some of the meters and all that. I was told that somewhere in May they brought in some new meters and they were supposed to be phasing some of them out. So I just hope that in the course of time they are able to solve this issue. You are not the only one with this. Many people have been raising.
No, I know, because when I go to the vending points, I see people come with similar problems. So imagine what is happening to, and indeed, Dubik Mahama, especially in recovering funds owed to the ECG and all of that, he's doing a yeoman's job. But in some of these instances, when I have paid you, you know, what irks me is that the app is supposed to make things easier. It's making things difficult.
That's unfortunate.
Because then I would have rather, instead of go home, I would have rather maybe passed by a vending point to make the hard payment. But even then, guess what? That too wouldn't have worked because the network was down. Okay. Every day, ECG's network is down.
Before we get into papers, Benjamin, one other important issue, you know, we have been talking about the Drive Safe campaign.
Yeah.
You know, I've been off for about 2 weeks and I used the Accra-Kumasi highway often. And what I can say is that the indiscipline, the impatient driving on that stretch of the road is becoming alarming. At a point, it was raining and there was a slow movement on the road. And unfortunately, someone came and hit my back bumper.
Whoa.
When you realize all of us had already slowed down, waiting for the traffic to move, then we go, someone was overspeeding on that stretch. And interestingly, I didn't see much of the police patrols there to ensure, safety on our road. And I'm really worried about it, how people are still indisciplined. Some people are still impatient. The way they overtake on that stretch of road is too bad. You see these mini buses, they'll see potholes till they'll come and splash the water, overspeed, and it's heart-wrecking. I witnessed no less than 2 accidents. Because the fortunate thing about my part is that the car that came and hit my back bumper hit another one before it came to mine.
So the impact was reduced.
It wasn't that serious. But the car before me, that one, the impact was huge. And I think that National Road Safety Authority, you've been doing well. MTTD, please. We need to up our game. Let's intensify. If you are using that stretch of road, we are begging you. There's no competition. There's no award for overspeeding. Remember that you are carrying lives, and every life matters. That's what I would say on the Drive Safe.
Well, thank you very much. Let's get into the newspapers now. And one issue that definitely I would have wanted to highlight it first, but since it's in the papers, we'll gradually get to it. The UTV incident. So let's slowly get there. And I am so disappointed.
Did you watch it?
Yes, so I've seen footage of it. I've not watched the whole thing.
Fortunate thing was I started watching. You know, I watched some of these shows just to get informed and all that. And I was shocked. The presenter was reading the LPMs and she heard noise in the background. All of a sudden, these guys came in.
You can see when she hears it, then she starts turning.
Just like the way we are
professional,
talking. And then people coming into the studio.
It's just crazy. But let's find out what. And then what I was saying, for me, that response, it smacks of such ingenuity and double standards from and what irks me, Kojo Pon Kroma.
I saw you analyzing his statement.
Yes, on our page, and I did that. And Kojo, you are my friend. I respect you, but that it smacks so much of
the last
hypocrisy.
Paragraph. The last paragraph.
The Dagbang FM one that involved an NDC guy.
Yeah.
You went hard. There was no talk of the GJ in their statement pointed it out. There was no talk of allegedly and all of that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this, then all of a sudden it's a different picture. And then almost as though the media should be tempered, they should know how.
We should censor. Is that what he's now saying? We should censor people. When
it has to do with the MPP, then
we should censor. But when it's others,
how can you do that? Yeah. But let's save that for later. So growth beats forecast. That's according to the IMF. Fund to revise target upwards. Now the IMF has given a thumbs up to the country's recovery, saying growth this year has proved more resilient than initially anticipated. Now, quote, although all the challenges are not going to be solved overnight and there is still a lot of work ahead, what makes us very optimistic is that these actions are already generating positive results, the IMF Ghana Mission Chief Stéphane Roudet said. He was speaking at a press briefing last Friday after the IMF successfully conducted its first review of how the country was performing to targets under the Extended Credit Facility Program. Any reactions to that?
I understand we've been given access to the next batch of the money or so, about $600 million. I hope we only put it into good use. That would be my brief comment, because it's becoming too much. Now we are getting war from Israel and then that Gulf zone. We can imagine the impact, because we know that we import electronics, pesticides, and what matters for the economic growth in the country. So imagine some of these global factors are playing or coming to play, and then we have the mega resources. We are not able to use it well, and then these external forces come to force our economy. I can imagine where we're heading towards. But I am happy that we've been able to access this next tranche of it, and at least we'll fashion out our policies to suit in that direction. I've seen a report by Raymond Akwa that suggests that they are going to redefine the e-levy and all that. I don't know if it's part of the conditionalities of the IMF and all that, but what I can say is that we hope that it will be put into good use for the betterment of Ghanaians.
Let's go to page 13 for those two stories. Maintaining growth momentum, two analysts urge government to be prudent and disciplined. And given the positive growth trajectory being witnessed in the first 2 quarters of the year, economies are calling on the government to stay prudent and more disciplined with expenditure as part of pragmatic measures to sustain the momentum. They also expect a better enabling environment for the private sector, particularly for the manufacturing and construction sectors, to rebound, to impact the microeconomy, which will lead to job creation to solve the huge unemployment challenges in the country. You're dealing with a situation like this, and then guess what? You add 6.3 billion to the public debt in 2 months. And you ask yourself...
Sometimes I don't want to hear these figures. When I hear, I get headache. I get headache over these figures, the amount that you quote every day, this is the amount we are owing, then you strike the difference, how much you and I, we are owing, even the unborn, how much they are owing. Then you go across the breadth of the country, then, Benjamin, it will shock you. I've been to some rural communities in just this my short leave, 2 weeks. I've seen other places in the Ashanti region, Eastern region, Greater Accra, and then unless you travel outside Accra, you don't understand the predicament of the people out there. And I think that we should be serious as a country. You know, we tend to complain in Accra. Yeah. But if you go outside of Accra, the last time we went to the Akuapem area, Safari Valley Resort, some of the roads connecting to that place, the place itself, stellar, fantastic, top-notch. But the roads alone, in some stretches, are enough to deter you from going there. Look at the cocoa-producing communities. I went to 2 cocoa-producing communities, and I can tell you that, look, these people are willing to work. Government has increased the gate price of cocoa to over 1,300 cedis. They are willing to work. I interacted briefly with them. However, the road network, accessibility, and we know very well that agriculture, some of these things play a crucial role. So if we don't invest in those areas, what will be the incentive for the farmers to get in there to work? It's disheartening. And now there is a disincentive because many of them are choosing the more lucrative option of rubber trees. Yeah. Rubber trees may take a long time to grow, but they tend to be much more as well as lucrative. The teak and then some are even, teak, cashew. Yeah. Cashew is much more, when it matures, it will give you a lot more money than cocoa. We're not saying that. And for my blunt thoughts on Friday, I shared something. We're taking our eye off the ball. Yeah. Some decades ago, the likes of Brazil. Brazil was the second highest producer of cocoa in the world at a point. I see. Before Ghana took over as the second highest producer. The South American countries are going back to cocoa production. Yeah. And here's where we have a challenge. Over the last 5 years, their production has increased exponentially. And in a place like Brazil, per every acre, they produce so much more than in Ghana. And look at the land size. Yeah. They have so much more to do. So we are sitting here, even with our biggest cash crop, we're playing with it. In the next 5 years, countries like Ecuador already, Peru, Chile, Brazil, they'll take the lead. China is doing... So even what we have, we are not protecting it. We are not protecting it. Galamsey is taking part of it. Rubber trees are taking my concern the has to do with the fertility of the lands now. Go to most of the farming communities, cocoa-producing communities, and then it will shock you that an acre cannot even produce up to even 15 bags of cocoa. Yeah. And it's how? Acres, that's about 4+. It should be something that is productive. Unless you are farming up to 1,000, more. that you can get something. So these are just doing peasant cocoa production, and that's what we are doing now.
Yeah.
We are just doing the peasant.
Yeah.
We are not concentrating on the large scale, and we are gradually dropping. I don't have the figures readily available to share, but I think there's more that we can do. If you ask Cocoa Board, they will tell you the Agric Ministry, yes, they are doing fantastic, but there's still more for us to do. If not, like you said, we'll be shocked. We'll be shocked in the years to come.
Even the Chinese have produced a little bit, and we are saying, oh, their climate, and it's just a small bit. Well, I guess we want to play with fire, because even what you have, you're not managing.
Managing as well.
You're not managing. And other countries have, better environments and everything. But let's see how it goes. But my final story, police arrest 16 for invading UTV, and the police have picked up 16 suspected hooligans for allegedly invading the studios of Accra-based United TV or United Television. So that's the television station, to interrupt a live program last Saturday night. A statement issued by the police yesterday said the 16 persons were arrested following a complaint by the owners of UTV, Despite Media Group, and the Ministry of Information. The police said the suspects were assisted with investigations. You know what's funny? With that word, I always get...
Have they been granted bail yet, or they are still in the custody of the police?
Well,
we have to follow up on that.
We'll have to keep our eye on it. But like I said, this whole... And there's this person. I took a shot of it. Let me just get to it. On social media, he is a presidential staffer.
Okay.
Yeah,
I saw that screenshot.
Nana Hesse Ojiri. And he says, you are condemning the invitation. So actually, he gets a lot of words wrong. You are condemning, he says, invitation, but it's supposed to be the invasion of the studios. When the MPP wrote a petition to the station raising concerns about the show, pay attention. The MPP wrote a petition to the station raising concerns about the show. What is that?
Are you supposed to petition the
censorship?
Yeah.
That is censorship.
Don't you know where the National Media Commission is? You can raise your concern, but if you say petition, you're petitioning them to do what? You want to, the Constitution, you have a law background. The Constitution is quite clear. No political party interference, no government interference, so far as our work is concerned. They cannot interfere into our editorial work.
That is exactly what they did.
So I wonder why you should say...
They wrote a petition to the station raising concerns about the show.
Yeah.
I hear Kwame A. Plus tore it to pieces. Yeah. So he says here it was, instead of openly torn, he says opening thorn. He couldn't even get his English
He was in a rush.
It was openly torn into pieces on live television. And then even more startling, what he ends with. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what he ends with.
If persuasion fails.
When persuasion fails, that is how he put it.
Okay.
Force is applied.
That's unfortunate. And he's
can you imagine this? This is a staffer at our presidency.
This is not the first time. He's popular for making reckless comments, and I don't fault him. If he's not called to order by those who matter, he will continue this way. It may not be all members of the government or the MPP that endorse it. I know right-thinking MPP members, those in government who have condemned it publicly and in private, but you come to defend this indefensible act. It is not something that we should encourage, whether NDC, MPP. Live television, what are we telling the international audience? Let's look at our media freedom. The president is a lawyer. He knows what democracy is all about. He shouldn't.
Knowing and doing are two
Mr. President, some of us admire you a lot, but this is not the trajectory we want us to go as a country. At least you assured us that if you come into office, some of these things will not happen. That is what we are expecting to see. Give us a serene environment to operate as a media. Let us not be working whilst I'm discussing with you in the studio with at the back of my mind that someone is waiting outside there and possibly can invade the studio. It's too bad. Comments from Nana Hesse should not, the party, they should call him to order. It's rather unfortunate. I think upon a sober reflection, Nana, you are human. Come and render an unqualified apology.
And the post is still there. It's not been taken down.
Drop it. Just put it.
It's not been taken down. It is still there.
It's unfortunate and in bad taste. It should not be countenanced at all. Just do the needful. You are human. And we are living peacefully as Ghanaians. Let's not use politics to divide us. Let us not draw the line between politicians and the media. We are stakeholders. And since we are stakeholders, we must work hand in hand. You should not make us enemies to your supporters. Comments like this ginger your supporters up to come and attack us. And I think it is unfair. It shouldn't end here. If possible, the police should invite him for some of these unsavory comments. It's not good for a democracy like
I guess when the shoe fits on the other foot, it is very different. And that brings me to the final matter, the concluding part of the Information Ministry's statement.
Yeah.
If you have the statement, we all do. I have it here. I want to rather take the GJA's response because then it talks about how it is in poor taste. Kojo, what you put at the end of your statement from the Information Ministry is like saying, oh, someone has been raped, but you know what?
Next time, dress
well. You've been raped. Yeah. You have no business to rape anybody.
Yeah.
But someone has been raped, and then your ending is, you know what? By you two, you should have dressed well.
Yeah. If you are condemned,
that is how the last paragraph. Do you have a statement?
Yeah.
The Information Ministry. I want you to read the last part.
If you are condemning it, condemn it outright.
I want you to read the last part, and that is what
make it a point. Like I mean, it's nothing.
You don't make it conditional.
Yeah, because if you make it conditional, it doesn't show that you are really condemning the act.
In fact, A+, if you read the Daily Graphic story, while the said letter complained about the biased manner in which panelists on the show were selected, among others, A+ argued that the letter was needless since that entertainment show was not a political platform. Yeah. And even if it's a political platform, you have no business going there to do that. Then, Mr. Information Minister, you put out this statement, and there are some times that we've seen you sneak in such bits. They are in sour taste, very poor taste, Kojo. We suggest that you desist from them because that was not the way you responded when the Dagbang FM situation came up, when an NDC person was involved, and we all condemned it.
Yeah.
But in this instance, these 30 people or so are involved, and then you attempt to whitewash it and throw it back to us.
That we owe it as a responsibility to the media, as a media, to.
Anyway, let's go ahead with.
All right. Unfortunately, I've not got a statement here, but we'll definitely do.
I'll look for it and I'll bring.
All right. So the Daily Guide comes with the picture. The big story there is Ken angry against MPs. He claims that there are MPs that he has been supporting all this while, and then they have ganged against him to support a particular candidate, and for that matter, he's no longer going to support them. That's the biggest story there. Second story is a UTV 116 arrested over UTV invasion. MPP releases election album to aspirants. You know, the last meeting we had with them, they said they were going to release it on the 4th. They have gone by that, and then they have given the album for them to go through. If you have concerns, you raise them before they go into the main Congress in November. Mahama defends Asedin Ketie's cool comments there. Baumia celebrates 60th birthday with orphans in the Ashanti region. He's 60 years now.
Yeah, he's 60. Yeah. He turned 60 over the weekend.
Yeah. Then the back page of the Daily Guide, sports lovers. Kudus late goal says Hamas.
I watched it yesterday.
And I saw the way Stoneboy was at the stadium. I mean, the synergy between he and then Kudus.
Mohamed Kudus.
I like the brotherliness. He was there to cheer him up, and then it was so hard to
If watch. Only in our entertainment circles, in our sports circles, there were such. Yeah. Recently, I saw KPB talking about part of why he was ousted from the team, I think 2014, 2015, thereabouts. And then I see Asamoah with some counter and all of that. I'm like, why can't we speak the truth and be supportive sometimes? Yeah. There's always a back and forth. And me, I've always said, because just as we find in the police now, where there's talk of MPP and NDC, even in our Black Stars team, in the past, there's been talk about an NDC camp and an MPP. When will all this hogwash end?
Yeah.
We're dividing everything into NDC, MPP.
Yeah. That's interesting. But yesterday, Arsenal did well. They trashed Man City by a goal. Kudos to you, Fresh Smith.
That's not a thrashing.
But it has been a very long time. I mean, when was the last time?
So they pipped them. Thrashing there, some 3, 4, 5 goals.
I was actually shocked. I was shocked that Arsenal was able to,
But Manchester City over the last few matches has had a few things going on. I think they need to get that spark together again. I wasn't too surprised when Arsenal beat them yesterday. And of course, that puts Arsenal in pole position. And let's see what they will do. Because as of when they were playing, Tottenham was on top. So now...
they are now on top.
Yeah.
So they could have scored more goals, but I think somehow the officiating didn't favour them at a point. But the one goal is enough, at least. Man City will still go with some bruises. I don't know whether you are a Man City fan.
No, I'm not. I'm a Manchester United fan. But in the last final of the UEFA Champions League, against all odds, I was supporting Manchester City.
I'm not drifting towards Arsenal for no reason. I don't understand, but I'll definitely...
Maybe it's the Fred Smith effect. Watch it. Because that elephant can climb the tree, but it will fall.
It will fall, I see. Okay, I have the Ghanaian Times with me, 600 million second tranche to hit BOG's accounts November after reaching staff level agreement. That's the story you read earlier. Comes with a picture of the the IMF members, and then our finance minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, in a discussion with the IMF officials at the press conference. Police arrest 16 over UTV invasion. Information Ministry, National Media Commission, others condemn attack. Someone was raising concerns about GGA after they condemn it. What next? GGA, you know, I think they are becoming famous for condemning acts of hooliganism and then all that. But after that, what next? What's the assurance to members that, I mean, these are the drastic measures we are taking? How are you going to follow this?
And I am saying that all media houses should take security much more seriously. Yeah. Security.
Yeah. Very, very
at important. Whatever point, much more seriously. Because this hooliganism, I remember 20, you remember the Owusu Bempa? I'm talking of the pastor.
The pastor, yeah.
You remember that one?
Yeah.
XYZ also.
Yeah.
Other subsequent ones that followed, then we have the one in Adan, Radio Adan, Dagman FM and all of that. I mean, there's been a plethora of these incidents over time. Yeah. We can't keep talking about them. People can't keep... Recently, one of those who got assaulted, I think, lost his life.
Yeah, he lost his life. He was in court, like, I think he was in the grips of the police for allegedly reporting fake news about some operations there and all that.
But I have the statement of the Information Ministry now. At the end.
Yeah.
It is written, the ministry wishes to encourage the media, especially broadcast media show hosts and panelists, to do their utmost to help promote national cohesion, even as they exercise their fundamental freedoms. So we are actually fostering national disunity, eh?
Yeah.
That's what you are telling us. And that we should do our utmost, especially broadcast show hosts. We'll do what we do for the country, not for any delineated interest. We'll do what we do for the good of Ghana, and we'll speak the truth, and we'll speak truth to power, and there'll be no censoring, there'll be no muzzling. This comment was in such poor taste, and I'm so disappointed, extremely disappointed. I'm not the only one in this.
We are all in it together. The final is my last paper here. Dr. Baumia donates to Kumasi Children's Home on 60th birthday. Road crashes kill 6,152 children. Experts demand mandatory use of child restraint and seatbelts. Most parents are, sorry to say, are reckless. You are in the car and then your child is sitting in front below 10 years. You don't put on the seatbelts, and we know what this can cause. So please, let us be careful on the road. Let's ensure that all these are done. Ghana external creditors close to MOU. 600 million IMF money also coming. Ofori-Atta, NMC, GGA commenting and condemning the UTV attack. 52% of females in SHS assaulted sexually in 2 years. That's quite a disturbing story.
Anyway, so just to wrap with these headlines, the Ghanaian publisher, first review of IMF program successful. That's according to Ken Ofori-Atta. I hear they are going to be, together with the Cocoa Board, is it someone else? Is it the Bank of Ghana governor are going to be on the Cocoa Board now? I've seen something like that. GJ, NMC, others condemn UTV attack. But like you said, beyond the condemnation,
what next?
What will happen to these people? I won't be surprised if you were to see, I hear there were about 30 of them, 16 were apprehended. I would not be surprised in Ghana, in this system, to see them on the streets in the coming days. Kennedy Japan threatens Central Regional MPP. And Kwame Jomo-Agyemang, my own good friend, writes the Alan Cash puzzle. Anyway,
that's interesting.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, before we go, I'd just like to congratulate all the winners. And they just ended Upper East GGA Awards. Our own Albert Sorry swept about 3 awards. GGA Journalist of the
overall best
of the Upper East region. That was kudos to you, Albert, and the team. My former station, A1 Radio. You know, we
show some love.
Yeah, we're the best radio station for 2022 in the Upper East region. And I think that we really deserve it. We've worked hard.
You see why we brought you here. We always look for the best.
Kudos to the management. My manager, William Jelula, my former manager, the program's head, Emmanuel Abuaji, and then my former Daybreak Upper East team, Mark Smith, and your team, Moses Apia and co. So kudos to all of you for the fantastic job. And then GGA, you did very well. we are grateful for such a motivation. We hope that you now come to a national level and then take it from there.
Well, Samuel Mbura, my colleague on the political desk, joining me for this news review. Albert, sorry, we salute you. Well, right before we go, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment. They're offering free prostate screening, free female fertility screening. Locate them here in Accra at Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi Kronuma here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takradianaji State Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Siamanzama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Bringing us to the start of sports with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi up next.
Good morning. Let's do sports now. On the AM show, I am Muftau Nabila Abdullah. We are on match day 3 of the Ghana Premier League and Mediama SC, defending champions of the competition. They are the first team in this season to win away from home as they came from behind to defeat Bechem United by 2-1.
Occasions like this, Bechem United would want to throw deep into the 18-yard box. Augustine Okra with the connection, and that's the goal! Experience has brought to bear on the game. Safas, Kofi Mante. Long throw it was. Up went Abonyo. Augustine Okwa made the Takwa-based team. Oh, fortunately, player went down. Jean Vital Orega. Bechem United keep the ball to themselves, trying to draw their opponents out. Faulty pass, and it's picked up by Mediama as they come forward. Strong run. Derek Lace on the pass. This is good. Now they're trying to cut through. Aaron SL comes back to defend. Chance for Mediama. This should be it. Copybook goal. Push the ball forward. Laid on nicely by Jonathan Sowa. He continues with his goal-scoring prowess. Telepathic understanding as the pass came through. Joseph King. It was a thunderbolt of a drive. Straight into the roof of the net. And Ebenezer Nkrumah still stands behind the ball. It's a free kick advantage to Bechem United. Drilled in nicely. Oh, just over the top. Look at him let that one go.
We take a look at results of match day 3 in the Ghana Premier League. Mediama SC coming from behind to win 2-1 against Bechem United, and also Bibiane Gold Stars. They were also 3-1 winners. Samatex suffers a 1-0 loss, and also Heart of Lions, they sat at home and played 0-0 stalemate. Nations FC, they were at the Abrankase, that is the Kwame Chase Sports Complex, and won they drew 1-1 rather against Legon Cities. And also Kaola United, who have moved their games to Tamale, they drew 0-0 against Great Olympics. And as I mentioned, Heart of Lions, they drew 0-0 against Tanobo Fuakwa. And then Swatruman also winning 1-0 against Samatex. Bibiane Gold Stars 3-0 winners against Real Tamale United. House of Oak 0, Dreams FC 0. Later today, Kumasi Asante Kotoko will come up against Accra Lions at the Accra Sports Stadium. And for the Porcupines, they are rooted at the foot of the Ghana Premier League table. We take a look at that table right now with Tanobo Fuakwa seated at the top with 8 points, followed by Legon Cities, who have got 7. Instruatruman are 3rd. Samatex are 4th, despite their defeat. Bibiane Gold Stars 1-3-0, and they are 6th on the table. Ediana Stars 6th. Yeah, they've got 6 points, and then Accra Great Olympics have got 6 points. They are 7th on the table. Kaola United are 8th. Accra Lions 9th. Nations FC are 10th, and then Heart of Lions 11. Dreams FC 12. Mediama FC 13. Brekum Chelsea, they lost their game against Ediana Stars, which ended 1-0 in favor of Indiana Stars. Accra House of Oak are 15th, and they've got 4 points. Real Tamale United, Bechem United, and Asante Kotoko are the teams currently occupying the lower part of the Premier League table. In Ghana Athletics, World Athletics President Sebastian Coe has congratulated Bawa Fuseni for being elected president of Ghana Athletics. We have details of that story on myjoyonline.com. We appreciate your time this morning.
Welcome back on the AM show. Thank you for staying with us. Now, we kickstart our conversation from the second leg. We're heading to Liberia, where over 120 observers have been dispatched by the Economic Community of West African States for tomorrow's election in that country. And now all counties in the country will have ECOWAS presence. So far, the long-term observation team has been working with the National Electoral Commission in Liberia to resolve concerns raised by some stakeholders. Nanaya Ojima has been in Monrovia for the election. He caught up with Samuel Koku Anyidoho. I'll be interacting with him shortly, but for now, let's listen to some of the engagements he has had so far.
2 days away from the big election in Liberia, it's the 4th consecutive election since Liberia adopted democratic rule. Today, ECOWAS is dispatching its observers to the various counties here in Liberia, and Mr. Samuel Kwaku Anyidoho, a Ghanaian and a politician for that matter, is one of the observers on this mission. I'll be having a brief interaction with him about what he has picked up so far. He's been through town, he's been observing things within Liberia, Monrovia to be precise, and he's picked a few things. Let's go straight to him and have a conversation with him. Mr. Anyidoho, welcome.
Well, thank you, my brother.
How has your stay been?
Well, excellent so far.
So we are a few days away from the big election. Now, we know that the UP, the Unity Party, is trying to stage a comeback in Liberia. CDC now is in power, is in control, but it looks like the UP is doing everything possible to snatch power from them. What has been your observation so far?
Well, as you are aware, I'm an ECOWAS observer from Ghana, of course under the auspices of the TIMAS Institute, and so we are just here to observe. So like you said, today is the main deployment day. I am going with my team to Nimba County, which is about 6 hours drive from Monrovia. But what we've observed so far is that the security situation seems very much under control. There's no heightened security tension. Yesterday, for example, was the main campaign day, last one for the Unity Party. And throughout town, they flowed freely. You hardly saw heavy military police presence. And then, interestingly, I happened to be around the headquarters of the CDC, which is the ruling party. And there was not a single human being in CDC colors intending to stop the UP Unity Party from proceeding. And for me, I think that the general feeling is that in the build-up to the elections on Tuesday, the political parties are campaigning freely. Of course, today is also the last day for the ruling government, so the city is going to be awash with their. Yesterday it was green and white, so we observed deployed short-term observers. We have long-term observers have been in for more than a month. The chairman and the head of the ECOWAS observer mission is Professor Tahiru Jega, former INEC boss from Nigeria. So generally we think that the processes have been okay, but as we go into the counties today, 2 days prior to the election, we are now going to pick up exact details from the counties in terms of whether materials are available, whether the polling officers, polling stations are ready, and whether the political parties on the ground also are up and ready for what will happen on Tuesday.
Thank you very much. So ECOWAS has about 120 observers here, and as you can see, here are some of these buses ready to pick up these observers and take them to the various counties. They will be doing their jobs. So it's been a peaceful process so far. ECOWAS is on the grounds and they are doing everything possible to ensure that Liberia continue to have peace even during the process and after the process. So far, the information we have is that the National Electoral Commission here is working closely with the ECOWAS team to deal with some of the challenges that have been raised by these political parties, and things are in place, and the whole of the Liberian country is very calm, and they are ready for the election on Tuesday. From Monrovia for JoyNews, Nana Yaojima reporting.
Welcome back on the AM show. Our feed was truncated, and that was why we could not get to Nana Yaojima. We're going to do that shortly, but just a reminder that we're staying on the Liberian situation. 20 candidates vying, 19 of them trying to oust George Opongwea, who has been in power since 2017. He's seeking a second electoral term. Well, Nana Yaojima earlier had some conversations. That's our citizens microphone today. He had some conversations with ordinary Liberians, also including Ghanaians in Liberia. We'll take that, right after which we'll be engaging Nana Yaojima on what the latest is ahead of elections tomorrow.
Good morning and welcome to Monrovia, Rano Street to be precise, and it is a commercial area. As you can see, it's a whole street with a lot of people, parading their wares on the streets for others to come in here and buy. It's a very busy street, they tell me, but since it's still early in the morning, the people are now coming into town to start their daily activities. Already, these young men you see behind me, they all trade in second-hand clothing. They all trade in clothing, and as you can see, these tanks or these barrels have their wares in there. That's where they keep it. In the morning, they come out, pick them out, and start parading them on the streets for people to come in here and trade with them. Due to the election that is being held tomorrow, that's Tuesday, I would want to engage them. There's election coming on 10th. What's your opinion about this?
Well, actually, the election are coming. For me, my opinion, the most important thing is to pray for peaceful election, transparent and peaceful election. For me, for this election are coming.
So what are you doing to ensure that Liberia has a peaceful election?
Provided when the result is coming, people accept the result. Because at time in your game, you expect a defeat. And when defeat comes, you embrace it, but not to take it into a violent out.
What do you think about the current government? Do you think that Georgia has done more to deserve a second term?
Wow, for me, from the situation surrounding the current government, for me, I see there's a reason for him succeeding the second term. Because we see a lot of development, a lot of opportunity, a lot of environment. For the past government, we have been doing normal business here. People have been running, we have been chasing her. But since we get into the government, we have been peaceful and free to do our normal business. So for which I'm seeing, it will better get the second term.
You think he deserves a second term?
Yeah, he deserves a second term.
All right, thank you very much. So, come closer. Tell me about your opinion on Tuesday's election. What do you think?
First, we want to congratulate ECOWAS for sending our peace people into Liberia. They says here or judgment and we see many development going on into the country. But say the same Liberian trying to say George we are not working, it says here. But only appealing to Liberian people to select George we are for the second round. And to this true George we are government, the hustle on every lie. Don't see police chasing off from one place to another. People now running around with a market. So I appeal to Liberian to elect George we are for the second round into Liberia.
There are a lot of people preaching peace in this election. Are you ready for one?
We prepare for war. Liberia from 14 years say war. We see nothing. The country stay back up. Then it's supposed to say they want to bring war back to Liberia. We prepare for war.
Thank you very much. So there are lots more people joining in here, and the message is simple. Ultimately, they are all seeking for peace in this election. And secondly, they're also giving us their thoughts on which party they believe can help move Liberia forward. Thank you very much for joining us here on Joy News. Tell me, how prepared are you for the election?
I'm fully prepared, 100%.
Is your name on the register?
Of course, my name is. I'm registered to vote.
So there's a lot of talks concerning peace in this country. Are you ready for one, or are you working towards ensuring that there is peaceful election?
For me, I'm wishing for peace because war is not good. War carried out backward before, so we are a living testimony of war. So anybody who talk and thinking about war, that person is enemy of our own country, Liberia. So we have no space in the country for war. We're here for peace, and we pray to God that the election should go smoothly.
We know there's an opposition party who is seeking to come back into government, and there's Georgia who has had also a first term, 6 years. That's his first term. Between the two parties, who are leaders when it comes to the 20 that are seeking for this election, which one do you think can help move Liberia forward?
The CDC, Congress for Democratic Change, they had a vision to move Liberia forward because they are already started. Those people who left from there, from the past 12 years, why are they going to change? Where are they coming to change? Why did they not change? They want to change. Why the law that they're looking for to find? So now we prefer the current president to be re-voted to be the next president of people Liberia because he's doing well. There are a lot of things that they not set in the country that he try to set it. People try to blame 175-year-old problem on someone who just a president for 5 years. It will never be that. Change is a process. It's a gradual thing. So we are on the red trajectory of change. So we cannot change what we are for those that never did anything for us. For now, we prefer President Job and we are to be the next president.
You think Georgia should be maintained?
Yeah, Georgia should be re-elected because for what we have seen for the past 5 years, Georgia have worked in like 3 years because coronavirus took all the world for 2 years. We also saw the 12 years from the past government that we didn't see anything, but at least we are anticipating something good, and we are also having something good. So Georgia re-election is a must.
You share same sentiment?
No. So we don't have no leadership ability. So we don't have no leadership ability. I'm a son of this soil. I'm a born Liberian.
And those are some scenes from Monrovia in Liberia. Just to situate the conversation before I cross over to Naojima via the phone lines, you would notice that in the last election in 2017, George Opongwea had to scrape it through in the second round, securing 61% of the votes. He actually beat someone who had been vice president for 12 years, Joseph Boakai. The interesting bit, both Joseph Boakai and George Opongwea are from the indigenous Liberian group. They are not of the so-called elite group like Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who was president before George Opongwea came to power. He beat Joseph Boakai, and this time of the 19 who are seeking to replace George Opongwea, Joseph Boakai is one of them, hoping to return. He's actually 78, and this is the last opportunity he'll have to contest. Well, to situate the conversation for us, we have Nanaya Ojima, who finds himself in Monrovia in Liberia. Nanaya Ojima, so walk us through what you have seen or experienced since you got to Monrovia in Liberia and what the scenes look like ahead of tomorrow's elections.
The country is very calm. Things are very, very calm within the streets of Monrovia. Ordinarily, if you should go through the streets, it will be very hard to detect that there is something upcoming tomorrow. What will draw your attention to the election tomorrow is the huge billboards and also posters that are mounted in the streets of Monrovia. Aside that, you don't hear people, having active conversation about the election itself, unless you decide to move to them and try bring up such a conversation. Going into the minds of people, trying to talk to them and get what they think about the election, what they are largely requesting is that all the interested parties in this particular election, the National Election Commission, the ECOWAS, the AU, and all the other parties work together towards ensuring that there is credible election in Liberia, and they are anticipating peace after the election. It looks like none of the people that I've spoken to so far is ready to go back into the dark ages of the country's history. So they are all working towards ensuring that they cast their ballots, and peacefully they wait for the ballots to be counted and a winner declared by the National Electoral Commission. So things are very calm in Monrovia.
Testing President Opong Weah. There's quite a list, 19 of them, including Joseph Boakai, who was Agriculture Minister at the time when Samuel Doe, that is a long time ago, when even I was in Liberia then. And then he is trying to, replace George Opong Weah. Tell us about the opposition in Liberia currently and what the people have shared with you concerning them.
So the country is sharply divided, especially in Monrovia, between the two candidates. The other 18 is very hard to, hear conversations going on about the other 18. I'm speaking for the Monrovia, the city of Monrovia, the areas I have been to so far. All you hear on the streets is either the CDC or the UP. On Saturday, the UP had their final in Monrovia, and you could see the crowd. It was a large crowd that were part of the final rally. And how they actually do these rallies is that the crowd that follows these candidates or these political parties come together from the party headquarters and march through the principal streets of Monrovia just to show numbers and tell people that there's likelihood or they are in good position to win the election, the upcoming election that will be held in the country. So on Saturday, the UP had theirs. They went through the principal streets of Monrovia, and everybody who saw the numbers would think that if it comes to the show of numbers, it looks like they are in front. But yesterday, that's on Sunday, the CDC also did the same exercise, and the numbers there were also very, very huge. So it's very difficult to determine which one is in front when it comes to the show of numbers. These political parties, they are strongly contesting the other. If you speak to the ordinary man who believes in George Weah, he will tell you that when George Weah came to power, security situation have improved in Liberia, and for that reason, it is enough for them to start or to vote George Weah. They also tell you about the development that George Weah is embarking on in the country. They speak of roads, they speak of football pitches, they speak of schools and other things that George Weah is building in the country. So they believe that when it comes to development, George Weah is doing a lot. But mind you, the George Weah's campaign is dubbed development champions. So he's touting his achievements when it comes to development in Monrovia or in Liberia as a country. But his opponents will doubt the achievement that is being put out there by the party in power. What they will tell you is that when it comes to the economic situation, George Weah hasn't done enough to put the country in a better state when it comes to the economy also they are also doubting the credibility when it comes to the security situation. They believe that this achievement that they are touting, or the CDC is touting, is not true. They cannot take it as a whole. They believe that Mr. Bouaka, when he comes to power, will do much more better than what Georgia has done in the past 6 years. They are comparing Johnson Sirleaf and George Weah's achievements, and they believe that the UP is way beyond the CDC.
Nanaya, right before you go, just a brief comment. We also know that in the last few elections, there have been runoffs. From the information you're picking, is it likely, with the 20 contestants, is it likely that this election too will go into a runoff?
You just drew my attention to that as well. When you go into the principal streets of Monrovia, a lot of the people are predicting a runoff in this election, especially with 18 others who they believe can pull some of the ballots in this particular election. So if they are able to pull some of the numbers, it is very likely that Georgia and also Mr. Bouaka will not be able to make the 50+1 mark that they are supposed to make to be able to call victory for one of these parties. So a lot of people are predicting a runoff in this election. So whoever you meet and the person gets to know that you are with the ECOWAS and you are here to observe the election and also report on it, the question they put to you is that when are you leaving? When you tell them when your flight is scheduled, they will ask you to extend your date, because they believe that this election will go for a second round. So a lot of people here are predicting a second round, and it's very hard to hear one-touch victory for either of the two candidates. But let me also draw your attention to the work that the AU and the ECOWAS are doing in Liberia. They are supporting them with logistics and also human resources to help Liberia get a credible election. Now, the major issue is how the election materials will be dispatched tomorrow. Already, I understand that the National Election Committee have been able to hire some helicopter to help them with the dispatch of these materials. Also, the ECOWAS and other bodies have donated some vehicles to enable the NEC reach some hard-to-reach areas within the country. So things are in place. Information that I have from the National Electoral Commission is that they are almost ready. They are just putting up, they are dotting their I's and crossing their T's to ensure that there is credible polls tomorrow here in Liberia.
Thank you.
What the Liberian people are very, very, anticipating is that they are able to have a credible election. The data or the results is able to be, transferred quickly and efficiently to the headquarters of the National Electoral Commission, so that at the end of the day, there will be a peaceful and credible election in Liberia.
Nanaya Ojima reporting from Monrovia, bringing us the live scoop as far as what is happening there. That election likely to go into a runoff with about 20 candidates vying tomorrow to become president. Of course, the current president, George Weah, also looking forward to a second term. Well, from that conversation, we head into our very next conversation right here on the AM show. JoyNews investigations have uncovered a cartel, including staff of the Electricity Company of Ghana and security guards who forged documents to sell off unapproved meters to prospective consumers at exorbitant prices. Now, a separate meter that cost a little over 800 cedis is sold by these individuals for as much as 2,500 Ghana cedis. Now, JoyNews investigative desk reveals the actions of these individuals enable their power consumers to enjoy free electricity without the knowledge of ECG offices in most parts of the country. We get into that conversation now as we interact with the head of the Electricity Company of Ghana, Dubik Mahama. But before him, here is the latest scoop on all of those dynamics in that latest documentary put together by our very own Kwete Nati.
The JoyNews investigative team decided to visit ECG offices in 3 regions to ascertain the extent of the canker. At the Accra East Regional Office and Sub-Transmission Office near Makola, I met Abraham, an ECG staff at the meter's office. He said a separate meter, which ordinarily goes for 800 Ghana cedis, will cost me 2,000 cedis. He showed me documents he had processed for a different customer, but was willing to transfer it to me only if I would pay the amount.
The last time the price, he said how much? The price, how much? 2,000. This one, reduce it a little for me. How do you go about it? I give you 1,500 when I come for it, and I give you the balance.
Okay, no problem. He advised that if I followed the established process, I would have to wait for almost a year to get the meter. He, however, promised that he could assist me to get a meter if I paid just a little more than the statutory fees to him.
I'm giving this one for someone.
Okay.
But the person also not ready now. Let me hold on. If one who is ready, I'll give it to you.
He boasts of helping many individuals struggling to secure such meters at ECG offices. In Abraham's confession, 3 prospective customers will soon be beneficiaries of these meters he's working on after they paid 2,000 cedis each.
This meter for someone, so
okay.
And program it 6 last 2 weeks.
Okay.
But it's not reflecting. So there's a prepaid.
Okay.
Have to reflect. Okay. You use the card to buy.
Okay.
And that is here.
Okay.
But it's not reflecting.
Okay.
Then when it's not reflecting, you can't store it. When you store it, the person cannot purchase.
Okay.
Then you are on the customer.
Okay.
So I just want to give you a receipt.
Okay.
The official receipt, the general process. You know, I don't want to do my life. This time, nobody gets time.
Abraham is not alone in this business of providing meters. But this Energy Commission staff who identified himself as Jerry at the Kwabenya office of the ECG is another operative in this trade. This is the exact district the ECG identified over 15,000 customers who were using power illegally. Jerry promised he will help me acquire a meter. He asked me to pay 2,500 cedis.
I don't want like everything. If I do something, I want something. Guys are telling me that the district got to get in is difficult. Now you can get there's nothing that you see the day I will get. As I said, you don't know. See, your network is not working right now. They're not talking that we use it. So I have to be he said, oh, right, yeah.
When I go get that?
Oh, let's see that.
After I made part payment to Jerry, he delves a bit deeper into how he got meters for people like me who are in dire need of a meter but are unable to wait for months before they would be assigned one. Jerry and his accomplices transfer the transaction details of another prospective customer to those offering to pay more for meters.
I have to get some details back. Do some things.
Like how?
Like the 500.
So you had to come for him, I will take it.
Not that you become for him. 1 week, I have to do the thing.
Okay. Okay. Maybe I will get the receipt then.
No, we get the receipt. Because it's in someone's name. Every 2, when I give it to you, go and check it. Every 2 will be in the contract.
At the Achimota ECG office, I came across this ECG contractor. He gave his name as Sammy. He blamed the difficulty in acquiring meters on the shortages in the system. He also charges at least 2,500 cedis to provide separate meters.
And those are the interesting tales. These are the things happening in our, well, private, should I say, public institutions like the Electricity Company of Ghana. Well, we have a conversation now with Samuel Dubik Mahama, who is Managing Director of the Electricity Company of Ghana. He has joined us for a conversation. Later on, we'll also be joined by the Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Mary Awalana Ada. But let me start with you, Mr. Mahama. A very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are we?
Hello, Mr. Mahama. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Great. It's good to have you. I already had some concerns I had wanted to share with you this morning, so it's good to have you join the conversation. But are you aware of all of this that is going on in terms of the meters and how they are being sold to the highest bidder, so to speak? Are you aware of this?
I am very much aware, and this saddens me. It's so sad. It's so sad that customers have to go through something like this. It's so sad that staff of ECG will collect monies like this, and not even a quarter of that money comes into ECG's coffers. I must categorically apologize to our customers who've gone through this. This is not supposed to be how we do business. We are very sorry, and we intend to fix this problem. Now, in identifying this after taking office, one of the main things we decided to do was to start what I call the loss reduction program. Under the loss reduction program, the processes of getting a meter has been structured in such a way that it is electronic. The human interface has been reduced drastically, where it is only the point where the Energy Commission electrician, certified Energy Commission electrician, and the estimator go to the area to verify the location of the property. But it is clear that whenever you close one loophole, another one comes up. Because now, from one of the videos, I think the Kwabenya one, you can clearly see the gentleman who is an electrician who is certified by Energy Commission, now having to create his own group of people, and they now collect ahead of to see how they can fast track your service delivery. It's sad, it's difficult, but it's not something that we cannot do. So strongly, we are now going to automate everything from beginning to end, because clearly we know that there are some of us who work with us that we cannot trust. These said people are not even supposed to be on the premises of ECG in the first place.
I see, but so that poses some questions. They are not supposed to be on the premises because per what we find, it's not just staff. We also have even security guards also partaking in the process. You say they shouldn't be on the premises, so how did they end up there?
So I'm talking about the farming out contractors who are supposed to. There was one that they said at Chimota, a guy called Sami. All of these people are people who fairly meters have been given to go and install for a customer. But they have found a way to deprive that customer of that meter and will now divert the meter to someone else who has given them who has given them more money. And that also distorts the information in the systems within ECG. It's mind-boggling because in one breath they seem to think that they are helping, but in a different space they are not. If you take the incident in Accra East, the Makola one, you ended up installing a postpaid meter that was never read for how many months? You understand? So the company keeps bleeding. The company is closing the gaps. And to be very fair, the next question we need to ask is, after we've all seen these videos, should these people still work at ECG?
And that is the question, because from what it's a cartel. I'm sure the veins of same stretch across the country. But they issue forged documents. How is that possible?
So, as I said, now we've gone very, very cashless. We now have a system where Even the whole process has to start from online. But now, to those who are so gullible that they haven't actually approached the main office, because you see what your man did was, people met him outside the building. So those who are not so, you know what I would encourage is, anybody who needs service from ECG, please enter the ECG office. Speak to someone within ECG. Speak to the district manager. Speak to the district commercial officer. You need to speak to people within ECG. Because when you speak to those outside, they are the ones who've created their own cartel. What saddens me is that...
So these are basically guru boys and girls. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay,
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying that. There are some that are ECG staff. And from the video, we have seen those.
Yes, but you're also saying that there are guru boys and girls there, not just ECG staff. All right.
Yes.
I get that. You just hold for me, Mr. Mahama. You're aware of the presence of these guru boys and girls. What have you done about the situation? And to add to that, you're saying that people should go inside and interact with ECG staff. I get that. That is the right thing to do. But the process tends to be lengthy. And people are, from what I have gathered on the street, are always complaining that the process is lengthy. And it almost appears that sometimes they'll keep making it lengthy until you pay something. So what are you doing about those two angles?
To talk about, I don't want to say something that would mean like we are looking at the integrity of the video. That video is sacrosanct and I intend to rely on it. But from the time frame within which this investigative piece was done and what ECG is doing today is that I'm telling you, your new service request starts from online.
Okay.
So basically, 85% of the problem you've just seen has been solved. So when you go on the new ECG app, there's a service request portion at the top right corner where you click on and follow the requisite steps before you come into the office, where your transaction IDs are all generated for the process to be completed. So I will encourage everybody to start from there while we work our way downwards to solving the problem.
All right.
But my main, apart from apologizing to people who've gone through this, because I keep getting these phone calls all the time, and I am really sorry. And I cannot blame anybody else but myself and the institution for people going through this. Again, if you've been through this, please visit our office immediately, because you know what I have found out is that there are service requests, but I do not have the people's details in my system.
Wow.
And the phone numbers that are in my system for new service delivery, when I call them, it goes to Guru Boys. So now I currently have meters sitting down for new service, but I can't find the people.
That's quite a curious situation you have to deal with. But hold for me, Mr. Mahama. There's at least one there's a crucial bit I have to put to you before you take leave of us. But please permit me. Let me bring in Mary Awalana Ada. She's Executive Director, Ghana Integrity Initiative. Mary Ada, with all of this going on, of course, integrity is crucial. How has your organization received news of this latest documentary piece?
Thank you very much. Good morning to you and to your listeners, and also to the CEO of the ECG. It is one of the issues with service delivery totally in our context has manifested some of these, and so it is not out of the blue that we see the ECG under reference this morning. It is one of the unfortunate things we would want to hear. However, that is it. Judging from what Kwesi has done, you would realize that it is a common feature, because he didn't do this just in one location. He went at least around 3 regions of the ECG to do this. Meaning it is a common feature which we are not at all surprised about. And we also know for a fact that when it becomes, or it gets to the levels of impunity, it becomes very difficult to deal with. It's become the mainstay of the people. It's become what they do on a daily basis, and so they do it with impunity and get away with it. So for us, it is very painful to know that I want to acquire a meter and I do not get it when I need it, but I need to go to a betweener or a guru whom the CEO is acknowledging. How do we then, going forward, remove some of these barriers to service delivery for the people of Ghana to ensure that we have the best? He says we have the online system going on, but I can bet you that if you go out there today, the frustrations which have been projected by Kwete would still feature. And so it's worrying that public servants we pay to do certain jobs are wrongfully amassing wealth for themselves. And when we talk about them, not much is done to reverse the situation. The level of integrity in the process must be high. Let's see better than just saying that we have a process which is taking away most of this system. We know just last week we are still receiving complaints in the ILAC about some of these issues. We have received a lot of them, and we would not mind at all sharing.
Well, like you say, this runs across, the length and breadth of our agencies, administrative and otherwise public institutions. Mr. Mahama, right before I come back to Mary Ada, you mentioned, did you say 87% or 82%?
I said about 82%.
80%.
I said
80%. So about 80% of this has been done away with. When do you project we can have a seamless process where there is no such interference, where people, Guru boys, staff of the ECG, security guards or whatever, will be completely cut out of the system?
By the end, I'm hoping before the end of the year. We are in the test environment. We are testing a few other aspects of it for it to go live. And as soon as that is done, in the next month or two, after the testing phase, we'll put it out there, and then the whole thing will be streamlined. Last week, Friday, ECG staff went out on an engagement tour with everybody as part of customer service month, and what they did was to also educate people on the app. We want the app to be the first point of contact, and for those who do not have smartphones, *226# will give you the interface quickly for you to know what you have to do and how you need to meet these issues. And then also, please, there is a way to report recalcitrant ECG staff. Help ECG to weed out these people within the company. Because we cannot talk about fixing a state institution and then yet some people are comfortable with paying these bribes or because they want it in a very fast way. Because believe me, if we allow the system to work well, it will be fast enough. As I told you, the details we have now of people who had applied for new service, some of them never even came to the office. You use these Guru boys whose phone numbers are now within the ECG system. So when you call them, they don't even know whose meter or which area you are going to install the new one. So if you are home and you know you've paid for an ECG meter through a Guru boy, it's okay. You come and see us.
All right.
Because without you coming into the office now, we cannot find you to give you the meter, and then it will give us a bad press. So please, let's interface now with the company so we can solve this problem now.
Okay, that's an interesting bit. You mentioned the app. I just want to conclude the conversation with you on that end.
Yes.
Your app has a lot of problems. So guess what? I came into town yesterday, and I slept in darkness. You know why? Because a lot of the time recently, when I use your app to purchase electricity, and I'm not just speaking for myself, I've been to vending points and all of that, to purchase electricity, it may not go through. I use the Camstrap prepaid meter.
I know.
I hear there are some changes, whatever going on in the system. It's so difficult, Mr. Mahama, let me make my point, and then you'll come in. I purchased credits yesterday, all right. My money was taken. I wasn't credited. I tried because I got into town late to get from a vending point the network was down. It's happening a lot. I couldn't iron this morning before coming on the show. That's how bad it is.
So
apps are supposed to make things easier. Go ahead.
Sir. Yeah, so my question is this. Whenever they say a network is down, do you ever find out whose network it is?
Well, they tell us ECG's network is down.
How does ECG network? My brother, let's educate the public. Today, let's use this to educate the public. Does ECG have a network? Does ECG have a network?
What do you use? What is your platform operating on?
Network service providers. Somebody is providing us the service. So if the network is down, who's managing that network?
Mr. Mahama, I'm struggling to understand you here. You know why? Because whatever network it may be that you are...
You didn't let me land my point. I left you to speak.
Okay, go ahead.
And you landed your
point.
Go
ahead.
So now, if the onus of me is to make sure that the system or the service is working beyond a certain magnitude, then I have to put in service level agreements in place. Now, my main problem after taking office is the fact that every service provider to ECG doesn't have a service level agreement with ECG. I don't know how that happens. So for all of these downtimes, yes, we have to find a way to resolve it, and we are trying to find a way to resolve it, but we cannot hold these people accountable. That is one measure that we are trying to resolve. I'm very sorry for what you've experienced. I am extremely sorry because you shouldn't have to go through that. And then also on the other side, your money is supposed to come back to you. The app is not problematic because this app has been vetted by Apple, has been vetted by Android, and it gave me a 4.5-star rating. So if we are to segment the problem, you will clearly find where we have put the problem at. And I can tell you for a fact that, yes, it is still our problem. But I am saying all of this because I want you to appreciate where we've come from and where we are trying to get to. It's a work in progress. I know we are not going to solve it overnight. And I know we are running out of time and patience with our customers. Some like yourself. And the fact that you couldn't iron this morning is very frustrating. But in truth, where we are now, we've been able to identify what our problems are. Initially, we couldn't tell where or who or how our problems were.
Mr. Mahama, so let me just let you know this. A lot of the time, in-house and outside, we praise you for some of the changes you've brought to bear in the ECG. Okay? So when we come on a platform like this, it has nothing to do with, but the problems that remain, we must address them. So we praise you highly. All the time. I'm saying this so that you know I have been one of those in here praising you. But at the same time, when there are problems, we must bring them up. Not just because I went through it.
Bro, so you have to bash me. As for the bashing.
So when you talk of a service level agreement, yes, I understand. You may not be the network provider, but like you rightly mentioned, if you don't have those things that will hold them down, peg them down, because in the end, we will not be concerned about whether, I don't want to mention any company's name, but whether this network or that network is providing you with service. All we know is that ECG service must run, and it is your duty to ensure that your provider gives you the right access and that we don't have to go through this. I think that's the bottom line. But Mr. Mahama, we are so grateful.
And that's why I'm saying, once again, I don't have any excuses. What I did was to try to speak to you so that you can have a fair idea of the problem we are dealing with as management. But in truth, there are certain things that were done badly previously that we are trying to correct now. We are almost at the end. And I thank you guys a lot for all of the support. But in truth, I appreciate shows like this and conversations like these because they keep us on our toes.
Mr. Mahama, right. We're so grateful. You've been so helpful this morning, and we wish you the very best as you root out all of these problems and try to resolve them. Mr. Samuel Dubik Mahama is Managing Director of the Electricity Company of Ghana. Let's support, like he said, those of you who have also procured meters through the wrong way. He's saying, no wahala, come and let's remedy the situation so that moving forward, you can actually do the right thing. They will not arrest you or anything like that. Mariada, Madam Mariada, you have the final word. What is the way forward from where you sit?
So before that, what I would want perhaps Samuel Dubik to also reflect over is the fact that when we put in place mechanisms and the bureaucracy around them takes forever to enhance or promote citizens' demand and procurement of services, then it also facilitates the cutting of corners. Because as you indicated, if you had any other avenue to procure, you would have gone through that because of the frustration. And so they should pay attention to ensuring that the services are so fluid and they do not truncate with some of these complaints of network quality not being there. Sometimes we know for a fact that sometimes in some of the instances, people intentionally put in place these hurdles to ensure that the service is not delivered as should be. Again, let's remember that it is not the citizens' demand for quality services from ECG or any other service provider is a right, and for that matter should be treated with respect. So if we keep people's applications for a year without acquiring a meter, then the person would become desperate to the extent that they are engaging in some behaviors that are not acceptable. And as he indicated, we should help ECG. We are doing our part by taking the complaints of citizens who are very angry at the system.
Right.
Some of us, they should, as a matter of agency, do that. But then transparency would cure all the darkness. Let's throw some sunlight into the process. And then finally, for me, I believe that when people are sanctioned, and these sanctions are punitive enough at the administrative level, then it serves as a deterrent for others who would want to engage in such behavior. We cannot afford to let people get away. When they get away, we know for a fact that in this instance, some of the people were ECG staff. Let's see them be sanctioned. And let these sanctions not just be done internally. Let it be published out there for people to know across Ghana, the length and breadth of this country, that you cannot go scot-free when you engage in some of these behaviors. When that is done, I believe that people would begin to sit up. And for Mr. Dubik himself, I would say that in some jurisdictions, when things like this happen, the head of the entity is also culpable, because at the end of the day, they back up with the leadership.
Right.
So he himself should sit up, because at the end of the day, it is his leadership which comes into question, just like he is impugning that some things were done wrongly during some people's leadership. In his leadership, we would also call him to accountability for some of these infractions.
Mariada, we are so grateful that you could join the conversation. Thank you so much, Madam. Mary Awalana Ada is Executive Director, Ghana Integrity Initiative. She joined the conversation. Now, coming up next, we have another crucial conversation. Guess what? About 17,000 are added on in terms of those who acquire HIV every year. And of that number, we can also talk about 57% of those children under 14 who do not get antiretroviral treatment. The numbers are burgeoning again, but what is happening? Well, we have a conversation up next with the Ghana AIDS Commission right here on the AM show. Do stay.
Just a few minutes shy of the top of the hour. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for staying here on the AM show. And just gone by was that conversation that matters to all of us about electricity. That investigative piece, Power Thieves, is much later today during the Joy Prime News, prime time at 8:30. So do make a date so you can catch the full documentary. But it's now time to have a very important conversation, another important one, and this one is health related. It has to do with HIV and antiretrovirals. Ghana made a lot of strides, in the early 2000s when we embarked on campaigns to get the numbers down, eradicate HIV, kill the stigma. There were songs, campaigns all over the place. Some I can remember top of my head because everywhere you turned, you could hear them. There's been a bit of slowing down in terms of campaign. Well, the AIDS Commission tells us this has to do with funding issues. But today we want to have an important conversation, which is another leg of the problem, and it has to do with the availability of antiretrovirals. And about 57% of children under 14 living with HIV do not receive antiretrovirals. And this morning, I've been joined by the boss of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's a pleasure to have you here for this very important conversation. Last year, when I hosted you, there was a campaign to get everybody on board. I've heard radio adverts even calling Ghanaians to help, with the funding of your work as the Ghana AIDS Commission. Let's start off on that point. How far with that? Have you received a lot of support?
Thanks for having me. Yes, we launched the short code, the USSD short code. No, we haven't launched it yet. It will be launched. But we started popularizing it in August. And so far, we have seen more than 2,000 people visiting the platform. But only 105 people have donated. The average of 20 Ghana cedis per donor. So that is the update on that.
Right. Now we have a big problem on our hands, the availability of antiretrovirals. Children under 14, children living with HIV, very vulnerable group. They don't have access to antiretrovirals. Why is that?
Well, the situation of the children is a little different.
Okay.
First of all, we have the Prevention of Mother-to-Child Transmission program, which ensures that unborn children and even during delivery or breastfeeding are protected against HIV. But mothers have to, after delivery, there are a series of times that they have to visit the clinic to have their baby tested to validate whether they are positive or not before they are given antiretroviral treatment. But in the meantime, they are given prophylaxis to ensure that they don't get infected. Now, the testing, they use the kind of test they require to do the confirmation is not widespread in the country. It's quite limited. And so that impacts on the number of children who can be given antiretroviral medicines. And so that problem is being resolved now by bringing in and recalibrating the COVID-19 PCR machines and making them available. New point-of-care test kits are also being deployed. And so I believe we are going to have much higher coverage of children on antiretroviral treatment in the coming year.
Right. So, I mean, these drugs, as you just said, are not accessible everywhere as we speak. You're now trying to extend your coverage.
It's accessible everywhere.
Okay.
But you need to go through a certain protocol before you can determine that this baby needs antiretroviral treatment. And that requires equipment and some logistics, which we do not have. We are now trying to deploy those logistics. The Ghana Health Service is working. It's one of the priority areas that the Ghana Health Service, through the National AIDS Control Program, is implementing or deploying. So very soon we will be seeing much higher coverage.
But what is the impact while these children wait for us to give them these equipments?
Well, the impact is, your guess is as good as mine. The impact is that the children would fall sick, develop AIDS, and die.
So we are sitting on a ticking time bomb if these equipment do not reach the various communities in time. Okay.
Yes, but in the absence of the equipment, we have a gap,
like a stopgap.
It's stopgap measure. Now, the stopgap measure, thanks for that. The stopgap measure is to have the mother's sample, the baby sample, transported to places where we have these machines to do the test.
And this is all covered by government, or the parents have to pay for these services?
No, parents don't pay a dime. They are not supposed to pay anything. Right. All HIV services are free.
Right.
So they don't pay anything. So this stopgap measure is also working, but we need to rather have the point of care machines, as close to the users as possible.
Right.
And that is what is being done now.
And Doc, there's another concern even for the older folks. The National Association of Persons Living with AIDS has recently complained about the unavailability of antiretrovirals. They talk about expired drugs. There's been a confusion around whether those drugs are really administered or not. But we know that there's a whole stock sitting at the ports. I spoke to you on Friday. Has there been any update on the release of those drugs as we speak this morning?
Yeah, I think we have clarified that no pharmacist in any health facility would administer expired drugs onto any patient.
Right.
So that information is inaccurate. The second point is also that as you have seen from the press releases from Ghana Health Service and Ministry of Health, both of which indicate that yes, the medicines will be cleared this week for onward distribution to the health facilities. And I believe and know that that is being done. So I will want all persons living with HIV to be rest assured that they are going to have all the medicines. But this particular medicine that was reported to be in short supply is taken by a small proportion of persons living with HIV. And as I spoke to you on Friday, I mentioned that the antiretroviral, there are various antiretroviral medicines. And so this particular one is what we were talking about. And therefore, everybody will have their supplies this week. And so be rest assured.
Right. Thank you so much, Doc. And we definitely need to have this conversation, and we'll find another day to have a bigger conversation about the national outlook when it comes to HIV and AIDS. And also, because you started a campaign, we need to measure and see if you're making any strides, because we were worried about the statistics and the numbers. But thank you so much for joining me this morning. Dr. Tremie Tuahene is the Ghana AIDS Commission boss, and we've been talking about the shortage of antiretrovirals. You've just heard from him right here on Joy that it will be, those drugs that are stuck at the port will be released much later this week. So if you're a person living with HIV or you are related to someone who just want to share the good news with them, and we will keep our eyes on this story, I promise you that. And also we'll stay in touch with Doc for more when it comes to the HIV/AIDS story in Ghana. You're watching AM. We will be back with more. Do stay. Thank you so much for staying on the AM show. And I know some of you, especially those of you who on social media. You saw a lot that was happening last week with regards to customer service and how it was celebrated in different organizations. I know companies that did rep your jersey, you know, career days. It was interesting. Why would you be in a workplace and choose another career? But it's all to create awareness about customer service, isn't it? Well, today I've been joined by Gideon Coney. He is founder and CEO of TIMAS, and Priscilla Wellington, CEO, Customer Service Africa, and also the curator of the International Customer Service Summit. They're here to talk about customer service. Yes, I know that a lot of you in Ghana have issues about that. Yeah. And then she'll also be sharing more on the Customer Service Summit, which is coming up later. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
When it comes to customer service, there are many examples, many examples of how probably not business owners, but the people they take to represent their businesses don't respect the customer enough, don't understand the customer enough and how they should relate to the customer. I'll come back to you shortly, but let me start with Priscilla, because one of the most recent has to do with a facility, you know, outside of Accra. I don't want to mention the names because I think there's a legal battle going on about a room reservation and how it turned up and all that. You've been working in this space for some time. Are we making any headway at all? Do business owners and their reps understand how big a deal customer service is?
Thank you. I think we're getting there. We seem to be far away, but we are focused on more work than the talk.
Right.
So that situation, the basic thing that could have been done was to apologize to the customers and find a better way to resolve it. Because at the end of the day, we want to create positive experiences that can get repeat business. Now, is a customer always right?
That's
it's
a
a
big
business, yes. It's a business philosophy. It doesn't necessarily mean the customer is always right. But how we must do everything possible to keep the customer, to let the customer keep coming back with their business. So that is why you have to ensure that whatever you're doing is creating exceptional service, customer experience for the customer. So it's unfortunate, but
what do you think is the problem? What do you think really, when you assess the Ghanaian situation, what do you think is the problem?
I think as Ghanaian business owners and the entire organization, it has to do with, we have a mindset and attitudinal problem. So if business owners put premium on customer service, it will flow out through the company.
But isn't it ironical, though, that we are said to be a very loving people, hospitable people. I recently watched a documentary produced by the BBC by Zainab Badawi, I think that's the name, and the comments about Ghana, my goodness. And then I ask myself, what's happening? Where's the missing link? Think about it. I'll come back to get an answer from you as to why culturally we are seen to be a very hospitable, friendly people. But when it comes to the business side of us, we don't seem to translate that hospitality in there. But you are doing something interesting, which is leveraging technology to help businesses achieve all the goals she's mentioned in terms of why customer service is important. Tell us more about that.
Okay, so TIMAS is a omni-channel customer service team communication software as a service company, and what we basically are doing is we help connect businesses to their clients, and by improving their customer services, their sales pipelines, and their messaging channels.
Okay.
One of the problems that Priscilla talked about has to do with businesses lagging in leveraging technology in their businesses. So what we are trying to do is pioneer the omni-channel communication and messaging system in Ghana, allow businesses to be able to monitor, track, and also respond to their customer services, sales orders, feedbacks, complaints, and more across multiple channels. So whether the customer is on Facebook, whether the customer is on Instagram, wherever it is, we centralize that communication on one platform. So I think it all has to do it all has to do with businesses, the leaders in these businesses having some sort of oversight on what their teams are, doing, or the communications that their teams are having with their customers. So more involvement from the executives can have a real impact.
I think usually the challenge is with the reps or the staff catching on the vision, because you usually don't find very few business owners are actually poor at customer service. Very few of them. Some of them are, I'm not denying, but very few of them are. But Priscilla, back to the question that I asked you. The Ghanaian people, what we stand for, how the world perceives us, and how it appears to be on the flip side when it comes to working in the corporate and business space.
I think that there is a huge gap between the top level management team and the bottom line management, bottom line staff. The thing is that if me as a CEO, I ensure that my employees are having customer experience, they have employee experience, then it's easy to give that same level of service and dedication to the customer.
That's a good one.
Yes, because your employees are also your first customers as a business. And whatever you expect from them, they must be practicing it within to be customer-centric. Then it's easy for me to
they're visiting their frustration on the clients, if I get what you mean. So it's like, he's a frustrated staff, okay? And I have experienced that where the person, is trying really hard not to let you in on their inner struggles. So you're complaining about a service, and then you're like, madam, I'm sorry. But you can tell that for her, she's actually frustrated that it's not working the way you want it, but it's beyond her control. Okay, fantastic. We've just got a minute, but I would like for you to share with us the International Customer Service Summit, how we can, be a part of it and why it's important that we have it.
Okay, so the International Customer Service Summit, which is coming Wednesday at the African region, the objective is to explore different conversations on customer service, how exceptional customer service can bring profitability, foster innovation, and also the overall growth of the business. Exactly. Now, it's also a platform that we have created for business owners, management level CEOs, to connect, share ideas from different industries and network together so that we can have a better appreciation of customer service, and that can literally translate into the growth of our business. Because if people are enjoying exceptional customer service, then there's repeat business, then there's retention, then we can grow. And we have amazing speakers like Professor Robert Ebo-Hinson, we have Chairman Asian, we have Jerry Ham, and Clara Pinkrasa. And other panelists, Gideon is one of the panelists, and other amazing panelists, so that we can have industry conversation on customer service. And if we have board members, management team having this conversation, then you as an employee know that this is someone who value what you bring to the table. Then in turn, you as an employee can have an employee experience.
Is it a paid for event? How do people participate?
Yes.
How do they contact you? Where do they find the tickets?
So they can call us on 0200 95070. 02,950-70, and then we can share more details with you and the link to register.
Thank you so much, Priscilla Wellington, and thank you, Gideon Kuni. And I know you want to hear more. They will be sharing a lot more at that summit happening on Wednesday at the African Regent Hotel. What time?
9 a.m.
9 a.m. it is, all right. So go and learn something and also help your employees give off that good customer service. You just shared a wonderful tip with us. So the bosses who are not, you get what I mean? Yeah, your employees have to be happy enough to give off good customer service. Not an excuse not to be nice though, but hey, there will be more shared on Wednesday, but that's it for now from Priscilla and Gideon. Do stay with us. We've got a lot more, plus the big one we're looking forward to today on the NSMQ. Do stay for that. I'm excited because there's a very interesting conversation happening in a few minutes with the NSMQ 2023. It's a competition between St. Peter's Senior High School, my husband's school, Wesley Girls Senior High School, and new entrants, Louise Rutten SHS. It will be live, so you want to stay for that. But before then, I'm having a conversation this morning with Infantipum, because I like the way you're nodding your head. They have an annual engagement series, and I've been joined here by a former contestant on the NSMQ. It's just fantastic that you had to be here today when your girls' school...
Coincidence.
Coincidence. Beautiful coincidence. Yeah. When your girls' school is competing. Yeah. But you were just telling me how stressful it can be when you're on that stage.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure, the weight from old boys, from friends, from family, from yourself. I mean, everybody goes in with the intention to win, especially if you are from the so-called privileged schools. And so it can be stressful on stage. If you are not careful, you may lose in the last round. In our contest, which we lost, for example, we led from round 1 to round 4. We lost in the final riddle.
Wow!
So it can be
just like what we saw last year. It was tight.
Exactly. So it can be challenging, but I mean it's worth it. The drama and everything, and the way it stirs up young people to study science and all is good.
Right. Okay. So, are you still in science? Are you doing something science? Oh. You branched out.
I'm not into risk consulting and stuff.
Okay, that's fantastic. But tell us about your engagement series.
Yeah. So in Infantipum in 2016, as part of our 140th anniversary celebration, we instituted something called the Mobile Annual Engagement Series. You know, prior to that, we used to have lectures. You know, yearly lectures, but we changed the format because we started with what was known as sponsoring year groups. So instead of bringing one year group to sort of host the anniversary celebration, we brought 4 year groups from 4 different decades together. So this year, for example, we have people from 1973, 83, 93, and 2003 being sponsoring year groups. So we changed the format into what is known as annual engagement series, where we bring panelists from these year groups to speak to topical issues. This year, we have the theme, the role of digital technology in redefining quality and sustainable education. You know what we are all talking about. We're talking about education, but we all have questions about the sustainability of it with respect to funding and all, and the quality of it. Because you have schools with a lot of students packing there. Some are not able to take their bus before they go to school, just because of the sheer number. Yeah. I mean, free SHS is a good thing. The desire to want all students to go to school is a good thing, but if we don't manage the implementation well, we may have challenges like we are having.
Yeah, so you're talking about how technology can help us deal with
especially digital technology to make it to improve upon quality and then the sustainability of it. Because digital technology affects everything. In fact, for example, we are known to have the best e-learning platform in the country. Okay. Yeah, it's something which was consciously done because of the numbers and all. And we have a lot of old boys in the ICT space who came together to do that for the school. We have very good, reliable internet on campus, and it helps a lot. So teachers upload notes, that kind of thing. Yeah, so it's helping. It's helping. And the thing is, if we continue with it around, it will help all of us. So the annual engagement series is actually to bring together 4 panelists to talk about a topical theme, to shape, it's sort of like a thought leadership forum, to shape the discussion nationally. Last year was very good. This year we know it will be better. So we do it. So this year it's coming on Wednesday. Wednesday, sitting is 4:30. 5 to 7. We'll be on Joy.
Yeah, live on Joy. Yeah, we are happy to be partnering Mobus.
Yeah, your boss is our one of us.
I know.
So
hello, Katie.
We always have the edge in this country.
Yeah.
If we decide to form a political party, Mobile, we can rule the country.
Anyway, I went to Infantipum Girls. I mean, when I was much younger, I'd always wondered why Infantipum was not the girls' school of Infantipum. But I mean, we love our disco boys like that.
Our disco boys have also started with this sort of thought leadership forum. On 26th, I think they are having one, but yes, it's in a lecture form. Professor Yanka will chair it. And also, that is it. So this year, you know, when we take every team, the 4 panelists will come, they take sub-teams. there's an area to focus on. We are looking at education generally, not just secondary education. So health, education, all aspects of it. We just want to leverage digital technology. These days, everything is digitization. Some people say they prefer digitization. Some people say they prefer industrialization. But we say we need both to transform our education and our national life generally. So Mobile will be hosting that, and it's our forum, our thought leadership forum with the country.
Right.
We feel as firstborns. You know, in France, we are firstborns. And we know when we are saying these things.
Yeah, I know, but it's true. I mean,
yes. So, you
understand.
Firstborns, we always carry extra weight. And so we have always felt this need to always start this. And when we start, the Disco boys always follow us. Your husband's people always follow us.
You just had to bring that in. But, I mean, I'll come back to ask you your predictions because Wesley Girls, your girls' school is participating. I mean, let me just welcome you to our live coverage of the preliminary stage contest involving 3-time champions, St. Peter's SHS, NSMQ Powerhouse, Wesley Girls Senior High School, and first-timers Louis Written SHS. This contest promises to be exciting as the 3 schools are yearning to win this contest and keep their hopes of lifting the trophy. Now, before I take you live to Kumasi, though, let me acknowledge my sponsors. The 2023 National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by Primetime Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with Goyle PLC and supported by AT Prudential Life Insurance, Ghana, Pepsodent, Better Malt, Accra College of Medicine, Academic City University College, Coronation Insurance, Garnet, Cowbell, Bell Aqua, Newmont, GTP, and YFM. The broadcast of the National Science and Maths Quiz here on JoyNews and Joy Prime is supported by Vitamilk, NASCO, German Ozone Medical Center, Royal Foam, Jamal Soup Heritage Christian College, Virtual Security Africa, Ace Medical Insurance, Chopbox Technologies, Syntex Tank, DBS, Invest Corp, Build Financial Technologies, Better Malt, Bright, SHS Kukrentumi, and Family Health University College. So before you go, Mr. Agbama Biase, who is with MOBA, just let me know your predictions for this contest.
As a mobile, I want to sleep well. I don't want my wife to chase me out. So gay are our wives. So what I'll say is that we are supporting them, but we know St. Peter's is strong. I think either of them will win.
All right. Okay. So all the best to the competing schools. And thank you so much, Mr. Abwemabia. So don't forget on Wednesday, right here from 5 to 7, that annual engagement will be happening. They're talking about education, very timely. But let me...